In this video, I'm about to show you why Chicago's mayor completely lost it after companies reported a massive surge in businesses fleeing downtown. This isn't about politics left or right. This is about your pension, your property taxes, and the city you used to love visiting. Because when big business leaves, regular people like you and me get screwed. And the mayor? He's blaming everyone except himself. Let's get into it. The Kellogg's exit that shook the loop. Kellogg's, the same company that's been making your cornflakes since you were a kid. In late 2022, they moved their entire global headquarters out of downtown Chicago to Battle Creek, Michigan. 250 high-paying corporate jobs gone just like that. The mayor said Kellogg's was just following remote work trends, but I called bullcrap. According to Crane's Chicago Business, Kellogg's specifically cited safety concerns and the rising cost of doing business in the Loop. Their office at 300 South Riverside Plaza had seen 3 break-ins in 18 months. A company survey leaked to the Chicago Tribune showed that 73% of their Chicago employees said they felt unsafe walking from the train station to the office. 73%. You know what the mayor said? Nothing. Not a single press conference promising to clean things up. Battle Creek gave Kellogg $60 million in tax breaks over 12 years. Chicago gave them nothing but higher property taxes and a city council that can't agree on anything. That's not leadership. That's surrender. Boeing's billion-dollar move to Arlington. Boeing has been in Chicago since 2001. They moved their headquarters here from Seattle because Illinois gave them a sweetheart tax deal. For 20 years, they were a Chicago company. Then in May 2022, they announced they were moving to Arlington, Virginia. 150 corporate jobs gone. But here's what the news didn't tell you. According to a report from the Commercial Club of Chicago, that's a group made up of the city's biggest CEOs, Boeing's departure cost the city an estimated $450 million in lost economic activity over the next 5 years. That's not a guess. That's a projection from the city's own data. So why did Boeing leave? In 2021 alone, downtown Chicago saw a 37% increase in violent crime compared to the previous year. Robberies were up 42%. Carjackings doubled. That's from the Chicago Police Department's own annual report. You think executives want to walk from their parking garage to their office in that? The mayor tried to spin it. He said Boeing wasn't committed to the city's future. Sir, they were committed for 20 years until you let the place fall apart. Citadel's threat and the Ken Griffin factor. Ken Griffin, founder of Citadel, net worth around $35 billion. He was the richest man in Illinois. He lived in a penthouse on South Lake Shore Drive that cost him $58 million. He gave hundreds of millions to Chicago institutions, the Art Institute, the Museum of Science and Industry, the University of Chicago. And in 2022, he moved his entire company to Miami. 1,000 jobs, poof, gone. According to Forbes, Illinois lost an estimated $700 million in tax revenue over the next decade because of his departure. $700 million. Griffin left because of crime and taxes. He said it publicly. He told the Wall Street Journal, quote, "I have a responsibility to keep my family and my employees safe." Chicago is failing on that front. He also pointed out that Illinois has the second highest property taxes in the country, only behind New Jersey. For a retired couple in Cook County, you're paying around 2.2% of your home's value every year in property taxes. On a $300,000 home, that's $6,600 a year. In Florida, 0.8%. That's $2,400. You do the math. The mayor called Griffin a rich guy who didn't care about the city, but Griffin gave more to Chicago charities than almost anyone. He left because the leadership failed. And after he left, 2 other hedge funds followed. When the biggest fish leaves, the little fish get nervous. The Loop's office vacancy crisis, 30% empty, 30%. That's the office vacancy rate in downtown Chicago as of 2024. According to CBRE, one of the largest commercial real estate firms in the world, nearly 1 out of every 3 office spaces in the Loop is empty. The Aon Center, that big white building you've seen in every Chicago movie, is almost 40% empty. Why does that matter to you? Because property taxes come from building values. When buildings are empty, their value goes down. When value goes down, the city raises taxes on homeowners to make up the difference. In 2019, downtown office buildings were worth about $150 billion collectively. Today, after the pandemic and the crime surge and the business exodus, those same buildings are worth about $90 billion. That's a $60 billion loss in taxable value. The city raised property taxes on residential homes by an average of 8% in 2023. For a retired couple on a fixed income, that's an extra $500 to $1,000 a year. The mayor's solution? Convert empty offices into apartments. Sounds good, right? Except it costs about $350,000 per unit to convert an office building into residential. That's from a study by the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. And most of these buildings don't have the right plumbing, electrical, or window access for apartments. You'd have to tear them down and start over. Where's that money coming from? Your taxes. Here's what I think. The mayor is hoping you don't understand how commercial real estate works, but you're retired, you've got time, you've got a calculator. 30% vacancy means businesses don't trust downtown. Walgreens closes 10 downtown stores. Walgreens, founded in Chicago in 1901. Their headquarters is in Deerfield, just north of the city. For over 100 years, Walgreens has been the corner store of Chicago. And in 2023, they announced they were closing 10 locations downtown. The store at State and Randolph, right across from the Chicago Theater. The store at Michigan and Ohio steps from the Magnificent Mile. The store at Dearborn and Monroe, the heart of the financial district. These were busy, profitable stores for decades. Why did they close? Walgreens CEO said theft had increased by 150% at their downtown Chicago locations compared to 2019. That means for every dollar of product they used to lose to theft, they're now losing $2.50. But the mayor's office blamed Walgreens. They said the company wasn't doing enough. Walgreens spent millions on security guards, $20 an hour for unarmed guards who can't touch anyone, and on plexiglass barriers, and on locking up every package of razors and laundry detergent. Nothing worked because the city wouldn't prosecute. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox has a policy of not prosecuting theft under $1,000. Someone can walk into a Walgreens, fill a cart with $999 worth of stuff, and walk out with zero consequences. Now those 10 stores are empty. The employees, many of them Chicago residents, are out of work. Retired people who can't drive now have to take 2 buses to get their blood pressure medication. That's not progress, that's failure. McDonald's headquarters gutted, fewer than 300 remain. McDonald's. You've eaten 1 million of their burgers. They moved their global headquarters to Chicago in 2018. They spent $250 million on a beautiful new office in the West Loop. 9 floors. A state-of-the-art training center. It was supposed to be a crown jewel for the city. Then in 2023, McDonald's announced they were reducing their downtown workforce from 2,000 employees to under 300. That's an 85% reduction. They said it was because of remote work, but I don't buy it. According to a confidential report from JLL, a commercial real estate firm, McDonald's had seen 47 incidents of crime affecting their employees or property in the 18 months leading up to their decision. Carjackings in the parking garage, muggings on the way to the train, an attempted break-in at their executive floor. McDonald's won't confirm that publicly because they don't want to look like they're blaming the city, but the data is out there. McDonald's still owns the building, they're still paying property taxes on it, but they're not using it. They're trying to sublease it, but no one wants 9 floors of office space in a city with 30% vacancy. The restaurants and coffee shops that depended on those 2,000 workers have closed. The sandwich shop on the ground floor, gone. The dry cleaner across the street, also gone. That's the domino effect of one company scaling back. The current mayor has never even visited the building to ask what they need to stay. The Magnificent Mile is a ghost town. If you've been to Chicago in the last year, you've seen it with your own eyes. The Magnificent Mile, that stretch of Michigan Avenue from the river to Oak Street, used to be one of the most expensive retail streets in the world. Rents were higher than Fifth Avenue in New York. Every luxury brand wanted a store there. Gucci, Prada, Tiffany, Apple. Not anymore. According to a 2024 report from Cushman & Wakefield, vacancy on the Magnificent Mile has hit 29%. Almost 1 out of every 3 storefronts is empty. The Gap closed. Uniqlo closed. Even the Disney store, which survived the pandemic, closed in 2022. The most telling closure was the Gap flagship at 555 North Michigan Avenue. 3 floors, 150 employees. They said foot traffic no longer supports the rent. Translation: tourists and shoppers are scared to come downtown. The numbers back that up. Choose Chicago, the city's tourism bureau, reported that downtown foot traffic in 2023 was still 22% below 2019 levels. That means even after the pandemic, people aren't coming back. They've seen the carjackings, they've seen the videos of teenagers ransacking stores. They'd rather go to the suburbs or order online. And the little shops leave too. The family-owned gift shop that sold Chicago souvenirs for 40 years closed in 2023. The hot dog stand that was there for 30 years, gone. The shoe repair place that had been in the same basement since 1975, you guessed it, gone. These weren't corporate decisions. These were people who lost their retirement savings because the mayor couldn't keep the streets safe. Bank of America abandons 23 branches. Now we're talking about something that affects you directly. Bank of America announced in early 2024 that they would be closing 23 branches in the Chicago area. 7 were downtown. The rest in neighborhoods like Englewood, Austin, and South Shore. When a bank closes a branch, it's not just an ATM you lose. You lose safe deposit boxes. You lose the ability to talk to a human about a fraudulent charge. You lose the notary service. You lose the coin counter. For retirees who don't use apps or online banking, a branch closing means driving twice as far to get basic banking services. Bank of America's internal notes, public because of a shareholder lawsuit, showed the number one factor in choosing which branches to close was crime. Branches that had experienced 2 or more robberies or break-ins in the previous 24 months were flagged for closure. The 7 downtown branches all met that criteria. Think about that. Bank of America made $31 billion in profit in 2023. They decided it wasn't worth the security cost to keep those branches open. They'd rather pay for the PR hit of closing in a major city than pay for more security guards and bulletproof glass. The mayor's office released a statement saying, "We are disappointed but respect the bank's business decision. That's it. No plan, no outreach." No offer of tax breaks or increased police presence to keep them. Meanwhile, retirees in those neighborhoods now have to take a 45-minute bus ride to the nearest open branch. That's not acceptable. The ripple effect on local restaurants and shops. Let me get real with you. The people who get hurt the most by this business exodus aren't the CEOs. It's the small business owners. It's your neighbors. It's the waitress at the diner who's been there for 20 years. Take the Berghoff restaurant. That place opened in 1898, 125 years. It survived Prohibition. It survived the Great Depression. It survived World War II. It survived the 2008 financial crisis. And in 2024, they announced they were closing their downtown location because lunch traffic had dropped by 60%. The owner told the Chicago Sun-Times, "When the office tower's empty, our table's empty." He said he couldn't pay his rent, which had gone up 40% in 5 years because of property tax increases, when he was only selling 20 lunches a day instead of 200. A study by the Illinois Restaurant Association found that 420 restaurants closed in the Chicago Loop between 2020 and 2024. 420. That's more than 100 per year. Most were family-owned places that had been there for decades. The kind of place where the owner knew your name and your order. All gone. And it's not just restaurants. The dry cleaners that depended on office workers, closed. The coffee shops, closed. The food courts in office buildings, mostly empty. The city did a study and found that for every 1,000 office workers who leave downtown, 17 local businesses close within 6 months. We've lost tens of thousands of office workers. You do the math. The mayor held a press conference where he said, "We are working to revitalize downtown dining." His plan is $50,000 grants to new restaurants that open in empty spaces. Do you know how much it costs to open a restaurant in Chicago? According to restaurant owner surveys, the average is around $500,000. A $50,000 grant is a joke. It's a PR stunt. He's not solving the problem. He's pretending to. The mayor's meltdown, what he said and what he meant. Finally, let me show you the moment the mayor lost it. A few weeks ago, a reporter from Fox 32 Chicago asked Mayor Brandon Johnson about the business exodus. She said, "Sir, we've lost Kellogg's, Boeing, Citadel, McDonald's scaled back, Walgreens closed 10 stores, Bank of America is pulling 23 branches. What is your response to business leaders who say you're not doing enough?" He snapped. He raised his voice. He pointed his finger at the camera, and he said, quote, "You want to know why businesses are leaving? They're leaving because they don't want to pay their fair share. They're leaving because they've been getting away with murder for decades. They're leaving because they don't care about the people of Chicago. They're leaving because they'd rather take their money to Florida or Texas where they can exploit workers and pollute the environment. I'm not going to beg them to stay. Good riddance. Let me translate that for you. When he says they don't want to pay their fair share, what he means is we raise taxes so high that even profitable companies can't afford to stay. Chicago has the highest sales tax of any major city in America, 10.25%. That's on everything from office supplies to employee lunches. A company with 100 office workers spends an extra $20,000 a year just in sales tax compared to the same company in Indianapolis. And our property taxes up 60% in the last decade. When he says they've been getting away with murder for decades, that's a soundbite. It doesn't mean anything. It's designed to make you angry at rich people so you don't notice that he's not doing his job. He's pointing a finger at corporate America so you don't look at the crime statistics or the budget or the fact that he has no plan. And when he says they don't care about the people of Chicago, that's projection. Because the people of Chicago, especially retired people on fixed incomes, care about safety. They care about being able to walk to the bank without getting mugged. They care about property taxes that don't eat up their entire Social Security check. They care about their city not turning into a punchline on national news every single night. The mayor lost his temper because he knows the truth. He knows businesses are leaving because of crime and taxes and chaos, but he can't say that because it would mean admitting his policies failed. So he yells and points fingers and hopes you don't look at the data. But you're smarter than that. You've lived long enough to know when someone's lying to you. Chicago lost billions of dollars in economic activity because the mayor couldn't lead. And until someone new takes over, it's going to get worse. More businesses will flee. More jobs will disappear. More retirees will move to Florida or Arizona or anywhere with lower taxes and safer streets. And here's the thing that keeps me up at night. Once these businesses leave, they're not coming back. Kellogg's isn't moving back to Chicago. Boeing isn't coming back. Citadel is never coming back. That money is gone forever. Those jobs are gone forever. The mayor can yell and scream all he wants, but he can't undo the damage. That's not speculation. That's history. And history tells us that when the mayor loses it, the city loses too. I'm not telling you to move. I'm not telling you to give up on Chicago. I'm telling you to pay attention. Call your alderman. Go to city council meetings. Vote in every election. Local elections matter more than presidential elections for things like this. Ask the hard questions. Demand answers. When they give you a soundbite, ask again. Don't let them off the hook. And most importantly, don't let the mayor convince you that losing businesses is normal. 30% office vacancy isn't normal. 420 restaurants closing isn't normal. A mayor who yells at reporters instead of solving problems isn't normal. You deserve better, the city deserves better, and if retired people don't demand better, no one will, because the politicians sure aren't going to fix it on their own. They created this mess, they don't want to clean it up.